Phoenix police remain tight-lipped with no real updates, calling this an ongoing investigation. But how did Zariah Dodd get from a group home in Surprise to a park in Maryvale where she was found shot and killed?
I'm glad you guys are picking up the story because, again, this is her story, but this is many other stories that are happening to these kids and these teens that are not being watched after. How in the hell does a 16-year-old get pregnant in the system?
At the young age of 13, Zariah Dodd finally believed that she had finally found a forever family that loved her unconditionally. After spending her life in over 23 different group homes, not having too many good experiences, she was finally happy to be somewhere she felt safe and wanted. The date was November 1st, 2022, when the young teen moved into the home of Richland Fox, a former group home manager that built a special bond with her. Richland, going through the system herself, could relate to the struggles of being in the state care and wanted to give Zariah a good life. The teen appeared to fit in well with the Fox family that also consisted of Richland's husband and 2 smaller children. Zariah was thriving and looked to love the role as a big sister, and her new family was all she ever wanted. When it was time for Zariah to start high school, the Fox family decided to move back to Richland's hometown in Kentucky to give the teen a country life that she was asking for.
Y'all, my baby in high school.
No, it's already messed up because I was crying.
Look at her. Come on. She nervous, but we gonna do this, baby.
No, don't walk me up there.
I'm not walking you up. You want me to walk you up there? I'm gonna walk you up there. Come on. Here.
Mom, stop.
I ain't gonna walk you up there. Take your little dusty Pop-Tart in your schedule.
It's broken. I don't want it.
Do you know where to go? No. Okay, remember.
With so much negative history tied to Phoenix, Arizona, Zariah wanted a new start, and the woman who she now referred to as mom was obliged to give her that. Sadly, with Zariah having so much past trauma and not the best attitude sometimes, she and Richland clashed from time to time, and the state decided that Zariah needed to come back to Arizona and live in a group home. The Fox family was not happy with the idea, and even though things were not always easy, they were in it for the long haul with the teen. Despite that, since things didn't happen the way the state wanted, they took the teen from the only real mother she knew. Richland was told in order for the teen to come back to her home, she would have to move the family back to Phoenix, so the Fox family did just that. However, the state did not hold up their end of the bargain, so Richland now had to try and fight to get her daughter back. The decision to remove her from the Fox family because of some mental concerns did not go over well with Zariah, and Richland was able to get her temporarily moved in with her mother until she was able to get her back. The teen begged to be able to go back home with her mom, dad, and 2 little sisters, and when it did not happen, Zariah went down a bad tunnel. She ran away from home, from her grandmother's house, and even back into the group home. She had did so much running away that DCS was said to be tired, but Richland couldn't get her back no matter how hard she tried. Even though the two's relationship had its ups and downs, she loved that girl endlessly. During her time back in the state, Zariah became pregnant and was expecting a daughter at the age of 16. Now she was pregnant and not living in the ideal situation, but was trying to make the best of it. She often shared what was taking place at the group home in messages with her mom and felt that she was not being treated fairly. These are some of the last message exchanges she had with her mother. As Zariah appeared to be expressing her concerns, Richland said, "Pay them no mind, focus on your child, and focus on getting out or whatever you want to do." Zariah replied, "It's just weird because the staff just started working for Sunshine in our house, and she's starting to use her power too much. Like saying she will take my past just because she can. Like I don't know why she feels so powerful. Then she calls another kid a heifer. Like that lady is rude." Her mom replied, "Record next time." Zariah said, "Like I haven't felt good," and she'll yell and be like, "Let me get a mask on, you're not going to get me sick," and she walks in my room saying petty stuff. Her mom replied, "I'm not there, so I can't see both sides." Zariah, "And when I tell her I don't feel like arguing, she says something even more rude and threatens me with IRS and stuff." Richland said, "But you learn to control your mouth in anger. Just walk away. What's your goal, to stay or do independent living?" Zariah said, "I'm going to do independent living, but I have to be 17 and a half to get the extended foster care coach." Her mom replied, "Okay, that's good. You got this. Just keep advocating for yourself." Zariah replied, "Yes, I have been. Like they never had a problem with me. I'm quiet and stay to myself. I just feel like she's picking on me because I'm quiet and because I'm working on myself. Sometimes it's hard for me to just walk away, but this morning I did good because while she was yelling at me, I just kept quiet, then ignoring her, and it made her even more mad. Zariah would go on to explain alleged further mistreatment, and our mom reiterated that she needed to mute her mouth and read her Bible, plus inform her social worker of all her concerns inside the group home. Richland wished she could have done more, but her hands were tied since the state felt best to keep her in Sunshine Residential Group Home in Surprise, Arizona. With this decision, Zariah not only became pregnant while in the state's care, but was allegedly able to sneak out of the group home to have interactions with her child's father. What people were not aware of at the time was the male that got her pregnant appeared to be grooming her, and the team was unaware of the trouble she was in. On the night of July 4th, 2025, Zariah snuck out of the Sunshine Residential Group Home, where there are cameras, around 8 p.m. and never returned. She was reported missing as a runaway to the police 4 hours later, and by the next day, she still had not returned home. As concern grew for the pregnant teen, a dark discovery was made that same morning at a park in Phoenix, Arizona around 6 a.m. A female was found unalive, and authorities initially thought it was a pregnant adult woman, but sadly, it was 16-year-old Zariah. The mother-to-be had been shot and left in the park like her life and her daughter's life meant nothing. This was a heavy blow to the community that someone could commit a crime so vicious, and law officials knew they needed answers quickly.
A spokesperson for Sunshine Residential Homes says law enforcement and DCS were notified promptly once she didn't come back. Zariah's family feels this could have been prevented. Questions remain: who was she last with? Why was she shot? And who abandoned her body at a park?
Weeks would pass with no answers, but when the case got a little more media attention, things began to be revealed. Not only Richland, but Zariah's biological father and one of her uncles spoke to the news outlets to try to get answers who took her and the baby's life. Richland also organized a community vigil on August 1st, 2025, to celebrate the 2 lives stolen, and it was a moment of sadness and heartbreak for all involved. That same day, law officials announced an arrest in the case, and one of the 2 people involved had a dark, sinister history. Police say 36-year-old Jurrell Davis and 18-year-old Jechri James-Gillett conspired in Zariah Dodd's murder. Jurrell's past consisted of pleading guilty to child harm in 2008 for impregnating a then 14-year-old when he was only 19 at the time. Before being connected to Zariah, he was also arrested on July 15, 2025, after the Phoenix police connected him to a missing 17-year-old girl out of Glendale, Arizona. That girl's mother filed an order of protection against him in August 2024, and she had been trying ever since to get Jurrell off the streets. When police executed a search warrant of his car, they found him with the girl and recovered a gun. He allegedly claimed the gun was owned by a friend of a friend known as Jechri, who also happened to be the second suspect in Zariah's case. The 17-year-old girl's mom spoke at the court hearing for the gun charges and said that her daughter became close to Jurrell in June 2024. That mom also spoke on how Jurrell had been in her home, picking up her daughter in the middle of the night without her knowing, making very high demands, and grooming her to the point that even Phoenix Police Department said that her daughter was going to need extensive help and therapy. He was said to be on her 24 hours a day, what she could eat, when she could shower, and where she could go. The only good thing in the 17-year-old situation is she's safe now. However, she's traumatized. But as for Zariah, her and her unborn daughter are gone because it seems as though no adult in the group home was fighting for her. The even sadder part is Jurrell was also a man who was grooming Zariah and got her pregnant in the process.
16-year-old Zariah Dodd was found murdered in Maryview Park on the morning of July 5th. She was almost 6 months pregnant.
It's sick that you would take another child's life because you don't want the proof to come out.
Now, almost a month later, loved ones say she is finally getting justice with the arrests of 36-year-old Jurrell Davis and 18-year-old Jechri James-Gillett. Davis, who Phoenix police says is the father of Dodd's unborn daughter, is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder charges.
Zariah was scheduled to have baby Zalani in mid-October, and the 16-year-old had plans to finish school and study forensic law, according to loved ones. Even though life did not deal her a good hand, for a small period of time, she was able to experience the love of the Fox family. She was more than a daughter to the family. She was their everything, and they would have given anything to have her back. Zariah was a child full of fear, hurt, and disappointment, seeking love in all the wrong places. Richland said Zariah felt that she was not worthy of love no matter how much she and her family showed her. Being kept in the system for so many years caused her so much hurt and pain, and the many years of rejection from others made her unsure who to trust. So her crossing paths with Jurrell was the worst thing that could have ever happened to her because he knew how to take advantage of her situation. He sadly thought that if he unalived her before the baby was born, he would get away with being a child graper. This case reminds me so much of Naziah and Jarvis Butt's tragedy. The only difference is Zariah and her baby were found. Both were not raised by their parents, and the state was involved in both too. Both girls were also groomed by a man with a history of doing horrible crimes over and over, but able to be free to keep harming young girls. My heart hurts so bad for Zariah and what she had to go through. No child should ever be unalived, especially one that the state is supposed to be keeping an even closer eye on. Both her and Zalani should still be here, and I pray that all involved are held accountable for what took place. The child was already somewhere she did not want to be and should have been protected more in her vulnerable state. Let me know your thoughts and who you think is to blame in this very tragic situation. Also, please don't forget to comment your thoughts and prayers for those who truly loved and cared for Zariah. And also hit that like button and share to make your people aware. And as always, remember to stay woke. Things change quickly.